outside of like WWF and WCW, like he was a guy that was a world champion in Japan, Europe, and North America, specifically Mexico,
Yep.
all at the same time. He was that good, and I think he won the CWA World Title from Otto Vance, or it might have been Rambo. I can't remember. Doesn't matter who he won it from. Just that he was a champ. He was thought of like highly enough to where he was the world champion for 3 different companies at the same time.
And 3 times in Japan,
Yes.
IWGP. I mean,
Yes.
that's, you talk about international star.
And I don't know if you ever saw his debut as Vader in Japan. It was against Inoki.
Oh my God.
And it was just like he just came in and went behind Inoki and just German suplexed him. Well, it was like a kind of a jar. He didn't have the bridge, but you know, I mean, right out of his shoes, right on his head, and like that was it. Leon or Inoki was out, and if Inoki was down selling for you like that, the last time he ever sold for anyone like that was Hogan, when Hogan hit him with the axe bomber, like and he was out cold. I don't know if you ever saw any of that stuff, but
Some of Inoki stuff, yeah.
yeah. But anyways, Inoki or Vader was just he was the man, like he said, and you know, people talk about Leon and Bam Bam Bigelow, and Bam Bam was technically a little bit better in the ring, and he wasn't like he was the guy that you could go out there and work with him, you wouldn't feel a thing, and he looked like he was
Wow.
for the most part looked like he was hurting you, but also there was some things about Bam Bam's work where you could see that it was kind of light, and Leon was, you know, he was a lot more hard hitting, and you know, he'd hurt guys every once in a while, and you know, mainly just rough the guy up, and like me personally, I don't have a problem with that. Like, you know, you're not crippling somebody. That's just me. I never minded like getting beat up like that. I think that Leon was a much bigger draw because he had that. He's going to go out there and hurt somebody, you know, reputation and just that aura about him. He was hurting guys sometimes, and it looked like he was hurting guys all the time.
Yeah, and the stuff he did too, you know, obviously he was a quote big man.
Yeah.
He was an athlete first. And for 6'4", 370 pounds, to do the stuff that he did is unreal.
Yeah. And also he could go like and go and go. You never saw Leon blow up in the ring very often. At least I can say I've never seen it. Never. It was and it might have something to do with the fact that he lived at like 8,000 foot elevation in
Could be.
the Rocky Mountains or something, but I'm sure that had a little something to do with it.
Makes a lot of sense.
But even still, like, you know, a guy that big, being able to do the things that he did, and just, you know, like guys half his size couldn't hang with him a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know, and my experiences with Leon were always pleasant. Like I've seen him be a little bit cranky, like to say the least at times, but like when you're a guy like that and like his size and like the health issues he had to deal with at you know, after a certain point, man, it makes you a bit grouchy. You know, and Lord knows, like I've been at least as grouchy as I've ever witnessed him being. So, and he really was actually a really wonderful guy, and in you know, toward the end there, you know, he talked about, you know, his health issues, and he was actively campaigning to be in the Hall of Fame, and it's really sad to me looking back now that you know that he wasn't inducted while he was alive. It makes me really sad to think about that. You know, people, you know, we never think. It's just another one of those cases where you go, you know, there's always next year. But there isn't always next year.
Unfortunately, with him, we knew he was having health issues. None of us knew the extent because he was keeping it fairly close to the hip.
Yeah.
You know, he had pneumonia, but he also battled leukemia. And look, once you get diagnosed with congestive heart failure, you're somewhat on borrowed time. It just depends on how
Yeah.
bad it is. And for him, his body had been through so much.
Yeah.
So,
So, anyways, obviously, condolences and that for his family, for his son Jesse. Very cool guy, Jesse. I don't know if you'd ever met Jesse White. I met him in FCW before it was NXT down in Tampa, and anyways, sincerest condolences.